Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Warning: this video will contain spoilers for the Tom King comic, Batman vs. Elmer Fudd. This video may also contain discussions and/or images of violence, sexual situations, and drug use. Viewing beyond this point is a choice you have made, and you take responsibility for that choice. Thank you, and please have a nice day.
Hello and welcome to this video. I hope the universe is treating you well. I hope you're having fun. And, well, we are going to be talking about the 2017 Tom King written comic book, Batman vs. Elmer Fudd, which, by the way, is a much better comic than the dumpster fire that was Batman vs. Superman. And somebody paid good money to have that movie made. This comic is different. It uses basically human versions of our beloved Looney Tunes. In fact, Elmer Fudd is a mercenary hired killer. He is out on a revenge. He's his girlfriend / lover, Sylvia St. Cloud, had been murdered, and he's out to avenge her death. Sylvia St. Cloud is actually a Batman / Bruce Wayne love interest from the late 1970s. Her story arc was basically she fell in love with Bruce Wayne, figured out Bruce Wayne was Batman, did not want to live that kind of lifestyle, and left him. She made a kind of a cameo appearance in the Gotham TV series. But as far as modern Batman love interests, she's the only one that I know of. I could be wrong, but that I know of who figured out on her own that Bruce Wayne was Batman, and she's the one that dumped him, not the other way around. Though it could be argued that in Long Halloween and Dark Victory, Selina Kyle did that to Bruce Wayne. But it is, 6 one way, half dozen the other. So yeah, she was kind of forgotten about, simply because they preferred other love interests for Batman, like Selina Kyle, Wonder Woman, Barbara Gordon, you name just about any other female in the DC universe, and Batman's probably had sex with her. But getting back to the comic, Tom King's writing, he was able to capture the nuance of Elmer Fudd's speech pattern from the cartoons without making it over the top cartoonish without making it stupid or goofy. We also get cameos from Tweety, a human version of Tweety, Sylvester, Foghorn Leghorn, the guy with the guns, the big hat. I can't think of his name. I want to say Toucan Sam, but that's the Fruit Loops mascot. And it opens up at Porky's Bar, who of course is being run by a human version of Porky Pig. Just on a side note, Porky's Bar has appeared in Gotham City before and after this. So Porky's Bar is canon. Now, whether or not it's run by Porky Pig canon-wise, we don't know. But this is a very, very has that noir feeling to it. That Humphrey Bogart, Casablanca, Maltese Falcon, type vibe to it. We open up with Elmer Fudd tracking another contract killer down, Bugs, also known as the Bunny. And he's drinking, and he's drinking alcohol and eating raw carrots in Porky's in Gotham. And we have an exchange between Elmer and Bugs. And basically, Bugs is ready to die. He knows, because he owns up to killing Silver St. Cloud. But he goes, look, if I can give you the name of the person who hired me to kill her, would you spare me? And basically, Elmer's like, you tell me and I'll decide. And he tells him, Bruce Wayne. And Elmer Fudd is completely aware that Bruce Wayne was a former lover of Silver's. So he decides to let Bugs live. There's a few panels that are kind of cameo. The cameo, like I said, the guy with the guns, I can't think of his name. Yosemite Sam. That's the person. And he's kind of portrayed like a biker type. Foghorn Leghorn. There's a punk kid, wild tattoo, just screaming and hollering. And he has a form-fitting, muscular shirt. It says Taz on it, so. And we have this shy, recluse guy in the back who's drunk a bunch of alcohol, talking about that he is going to blow up everything with his Aluminium G96 space manipulator. Marvin the Martian, of course. Then we have a guy talking about his frog. He's got this frog that can sing and dance. For those of you that were old enough in the 90s, that was a big Warner Brothers thing in the 90s, the dancing frog. And we get a cameo of Tweety, which is creepy as AF. Don't know if he's a pimp or if he's just a sleazeball. He's drinking a beer, and he says, and she moves in that way, you know what I mean. I just gotta go. I did see that putty cat. Like I said, you don't know if he's just a sleazeball, a pimp, or what. And the way they set the bar scene up, he's talking about female genitalia. So yeah. Then we get a flashback of when Elmer came home and found the bloody mess and blood everywhere. Which, if you know anything about, first of all, noir detective stories and comic books and modern movie tropes, you understand that no body, because if there's not a body, doesn't necessarily mean there's a murder. Elmer goes undercover. He infiltrates Wayne Manor, puts a 12 gauge into Bruce Wayne. But Bruce Wayne, being Bruce Wayne, he survives. He ducks out of the party because the police and all that evidently don't need to question him. But he does it in such a way that he leaves Elmer to believe that he's dead. Elmer, he tracks Elmer down. You have a real good fight scene between Elmer. Elmer thinks he hears something out in the hallway, and there's no dialogue. No dialogue. He hears something in the hallway. He grabs his double barrel. He goes out in the hallway. Nothing. Batman had slid in behind him, and he's aware of it. And he just kind of flips the gun over his shoulder and squeezes the trigger and lets Batman have it. But Batman was pretty sure that was coming. Of course, Batman ducks it. You have a fight scene. At some point, Elmer gets his double barrel reloaded, and you have this boom. You have a scene very reminiscent of the scene in Frank Miller's Year One, where Gordon is shooting Batman in the stomach with a pistol at almost point blank range. It's very reminiscent of that. The way it's drawn, the way it's colored. So Batman finally beats up Elmer. They talk things out. They figure out what's going on. They go back to the bar. They go back to Porky's. They find Bugs. Our Yosemite Sam analog pulls 245s and basically says that Porky's is a no varmint area. You know, we're not going to have varmints here. Batman one-shots him. Just boom. Reminiscent of the old 80s Justice League, in which Guy Gardner tries to set up on Batman, and he does the same thing, just one-shots him, just knocks him out one blow. We come to the conclusion, I mean, we have some more guys. Our analog for Leghorn Foghorn tries to jump Batman. Sylvester, or analog for Sylvester the Cat. And then a bunch of people get beat up. Then we come to find out that basically our girl Silver is still alive, and she set the whole thing up in order to get Batman and Elmer to get acquainted and actually work with each other, because even though Elmer is a mercenary, a gun for hire, he has a very strict code he goes by, and part of his code is no women, no children, I'm only going to take things that I deem, that I do the research on, and I deem worth taking on, the contracts. So, and she thought those two would go well. And the comic ends. Then after that, after that portion of the comic ends, we get a Looney Tunes version of Batman. It's a trope on the whole rabbit season, duck season thing, except it's rabbit season, bat season, and they go through that whole shtick. It's quite humorous. It's a great break, a great tension breaker from the main story, and it's well worth it. It's like I said at the beginning, this comic is actually better than the Batman versus Superman movie, and some dumbass paid a ton of money to get that movie made, to get that dumpster fire. And if you'd asked me 24 hours ago if those words would ever come out of my mouth, I would have laughed at you, kind of like I'm giggling now. And I happened across this. There's a YouTube channel that I really enjoy. It's called Comic Pop. It is a group of friends. When I first started watching it, I started watching it in the dark days of 2020. Because, let's face it, we weren't going anywhere in the dark days of 2020. So, I started watching it. It was one of the channels I come across YouTube and started watching then. And they do. It's a bunch of comic nerds doing comic book nerd stuff for YouTube videos. And they're great because they're very candid. If they disagree with each other, they disagree, but they're mature enough and intelligent enough not to throw things and fight and yell and scream. They're just like, look, I don't agree with you, and let's just leave it there and move on. Their main playlist that I watch is Back Issues, and it's mainly hosted by Sal with Ethan and Ben, and it's a very good bouncing things off each other, because Sal is your comic nerd. He is the supreme comic nerd of the group. Ethan, from the episodes and stuff I've seen, is more your science fiction, Star Wars, Star Trek type nerd. And Ben is the casual fan, the person that reads comics, enjoys comics, but hasn't nerded out on them. And you get this nice blending, mixing of opinions and ideas and things. And occasionally, and I believe at the time, or the first videos I started watching, there's a female, Tiffany, who eventually becomes, that did not come out, who marries Sal at some point, and I can't remember if it's before the dark days of 2020 or after the dark days of 2020, but they've gotten married, and she shows up on the show. There's some of them where she's the host. It's her and Ethan and Ben, or her and Sal and Ethan, whatever the combination is. And they do, and it's a great dynamic. There's episodes where it's all four of them, and it's a really good dynamic. It's a great composite of people, great composite of ideas and exchange of ideas. I've come across some really, really good comics, and if you're a comic fan, I think I fall in the group of more than casual, but less than hardcore. What I refer to as a dedicated fan. So yeah, it is what it is. And I would highly recommend. If you like comic books, you enjoy reading comic books, check out their channel. They do a little bit of everything. DC, Marvel, Dark Horse, Independence, comic book companies I've never heard of. They do them. They're great. And it's a great channel. So that's about all for this episode. Until next time, everyone, be good, have fun, and remember, to be a good human, be good to other humans. Peace.